Good afternoon, beautiful beings of light. Welcome to the Wisdom Circle with Terri Suzuki, Heather, SunPsychic Jean, myself, and hopefully Terry Lee will be here shortly. We're just having a bit of electronic problems today, but you all know how that goes. It's no big deal. And today, for those of you that are new to our channel, this group meets every month just to have a chat about a particular subject and try to get different perspectives on whatever that subject is, always spiritually oriented. And today, Terri Suzuki is going to be our hostess with the mostest, and she's going to talk about the Akashic records, which, is amazing, really, because we just talked about it on Saturday. With Linda Day Gonzalez, and we've all been doing Akashic record readings recently. So it's really an appropriate subject for the time, I think. So, and I think you're an expert at it. So I'm really excited to have you lead our show today.
Well, thank you. But I wouldn't think I'm an expert yet. I'm still a little bit newbie on it, but it's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. Yeah. Hey, Willow Love and Flower Beauty. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it very much. And we are waiting on Terry Lee to come back, hopefully momentarily.
Yeah, I was going to say, I find the Akashic records much more accurate and easier to get the responses for me. Either I'm getting better at stuff and that's just part of it, or it's just different.
Mm-hmm. I find that the Akashic Records masters are very chatty, really chatty.
Very chatty, yeah. And I think it's easier. I actually feel more comfortable in the records knowing that feeling than doing it any other way. I mean, mediumship or psychic mediumship rather than reading the records. And to me, it's just such a different feeling to step into the records, step into that energy.
Right.
It's beautiful.
I'm attempting to blend them.
I can understand that. And I think that over time, it probably happens with all of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How could it not? All of our clairs are important.
Yeah, and if we're trying to communicate, I feel like whoever wants to respond is going to, whether it's the Akashic Records people or somebody else who knows something.
Mm-hmm. So we're not doing personal questions today, Flower Beauty. We're going to be talking about the Akashic Records. And then once we're done, if you have a question about the topic that we're discussing, we can
I think I actually
incorporate that.
For that.
Yeah. And I really like the vibration, the certainty, and the trust that it carries. There's this ability to trust what information is coming in because of the vibration and the certainty that is carried with it. And I don't know how else to express that certainty.
I agree.
Right.
It's a certainty I feel about the information.
Right.
And that might not be the exact way to describe it, but that's the only thing that's coming to mind right now about how to trust it to come through. And it has like such a grounding and such a factual energy or vibration around it. And there's no doubting, there's no wishy-washy, there's no ambiguity or misinterpretation. Whereas if you are talking to a loved one, you could see, a bicycle and think that he liked riding bikes, where no, he just lived in an area where a lot of people rode bikes,
right.
It's
right.
it's a little bit more interpretation to the psychic medium when you're receiving that type of a message. And that's okay. I mean, that's built into the psychic mediumship, that 10 to 20% of misinterpretation. But when the Akashic records come through, it's like fact. It's like you're reading yeah, you're reading facts.
There's no room for interpretation.
Right. They
There
give it to
really
you
isn't.
straight. Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I want to apologize to you guys. I keep getting distracted by something I'm seeing, but I don't know what it is. It just keeps hopping around. and draws my attention. I'm going, what? You know.
Terri Lee, she's hopping around.
Yeah, Terri Lee's hopping in.
Hi,
Hey, hello, young. That's much better.
I'm back, and it is better.
Mhm.
Except you need to center.
Thank you, honey. Bye. That's my master tech, my husband Dave. Okay,
better.
centered now.
Yes.
Yay.
Great. You're not skipping.
Yeah, much better. Much better.
Somehow I had a hotspot on my phone, and I don't even use that ever. It just got locked on somehow, and he helped me. He's
It's
mad.
these energies. I'm telling you, they change my phone all the time.
Yeah.
And my computer settings, I have the same mic I've always had, and sometimes
Yeah.
I'll come in and it's on my computer mic. Instead of-
Yeah. Or you open
Oh,
up
hey.
open up one of your little MacBooks, and all of a sudden it's someplace you didn't know that was there.
Yeah.
You know.
Or
Keeps us on our
today, when I did my slides for today, and everybody saw a big gray mass but me.
Oh,
Yeah, because I was looking at it on my iPad, and that my iPad does that sometimes.
Yeah.
It's great. iPads are that way. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, are you
yes.
ready to rock and roll, Miss Terri?
I am so
am.
happy. Oh, that Miss Terry. I'm sorry. I'm so happy to be here.
We're glad you're ready to rock and roll too.
Say hello to everybody. We already did.
Yes. Okay. Well, so this is my month to teach, and so I decided to talk about the Akashic records because a lot of us here just learned not too long ago how to read the Akashic records, and some of us could read them for a little longer. And I just find it super interesting. In fact, we were just discussing some of the things that are so interesting about them. So let's add the, okay. So what I want to tell you about is what they are and how to get the most out of a reading. Because in general, Akashic record readings can be kind of expensive, so you might as well get your money's worth. So first up, what are the Akashic records and where do they exist? So the Akashic records are the records of your soul from all lifetimes that you've ever lived. And it includes all the types of life, even if those lives were on other planets or in other dimensions or as other types of beings. And I'll explain that a little bit more later. That as I keep reading in the Akashic records, I keep learning more stuff. So your records are in the quantum field, which transcends time and space. In the old days, when everybody kind of discovered the records, it was about the 1800s, the late 1800s, and the only place they could really think about where the data might be stored is they thought of a library. So a lot of people think of the Akashic records as like a great big library. But they don't exist in a library separate from you. They exist in this quantum field. So you can almost think of them like DNA, that they're with you always. They're a part of you.
Yeah.
When that I am reading the Akashic records, I find that it's helpful to have whoever has invited me to read to really concentrate on their crown chakra. And it seems like that the energy tends to kind of hang out there. I know when I first started reading them, when I got the attunement, it just felt like there was tingling all around my head and like I was wearing a heavy, heavy hat. Did anybody else have an experience like that?
Yeah, I did. I had kind of like a headache because there was so much pressure.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
I felt like I
So
was
yeah, it
wearing
could
a
be
heavy
like a
hat.
heavy hat.
Yeah, I had that tingling and that heavy hat feeling too.
Yeah, it was very, very unusual. So for me, as I describe what I know, remember, I don't know everything. It was just a very, very physical experience for me, where that I felt them tingling, I felt this heaviness that, and I just felt it feels like a very physical process to me. Um, so these records are carried by you. They are your own, and it's this history of all your lives. And so who can access your Akashic records? And that's a good question. Who can access them? Well, really, only you. These are your records, and you are the only one that can access them. You can give permission to somebody else who is specialized at reading them to read your Akashic records, but they cannot just go in and do it without your permission. We have to have permission because these are truly yours. That being said, you can also just read them yourself. You don't have to hire somebody else to do that. You can do it yourself. And there are many books and videos where you can do this. In fact, when I first started reading my own Akashic records, I used a video on YouTube to help me do that. And it was it used hypnosis to make you very calm and then take you on this journey to go to your records. And the way I experienced them at first was that they took me to this little English cottage in the country. I don't know what country, but in the country. And it was it just made me feel so good to be there. Like, oh, this is such a lovely little place. And I would go in, and the front room would be there. And I would go through into the dining room. And in the dining room was where I would read the Akashic records. Now, I know there's no real dining room, but this is just how my guides, angels, were interfacing with me. I seem to have a lot of visuals to do things. And so it was a big dining room table with a big book on it. And then there were windows on either side. And around the windows were bookcases full of books. And from time to time, I would go there and a book would light up. And I knew when the book lit up that they were inviting me to read it. And that book would be a past life of mine. So that is one way to get started. However, back then, before I got trained to actually read them, I didn't see a team there. It was just me in the house, and there were some stables in the back, and I often got off track and went to pet the horses, which definitely took me out of the records. So I would have to work hard then to stay in them. But I could read my own records and saw some past lives, but that's all I did on my own. So you may be wondering then, well, actually, I'm gonna pause here a second. Did anyone else start to read their own Akashic records before they learned how to read it? No?
No, but I have read and been drawn into past lives when people have asked me in readings.
Mm-hmm.
Different thing, I'm sure, because it was just like, how do I explain it? It was just like being drawn in to an experience where I was there observing them in a life, and I could explain everything to them, and they were verified by some other things that the people knew about themselves. So they were pretty solid. But that's all. I haven't had any official training, ladies. I'm excited to get it.
I would ask questions and I'd get answers, but as far as consciously going up to read the records, I didn't do that till I was shown how.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I called it something just a little bit different. I called it the halls of knowledge. And
Mhm.
it was just a little bit different for me, the way it presented. And it came in with my shamanic energy training. And it really developed from there. And it actually surprised me and led me. So, and then after, when I learned the Akashic records and what they were and what they were like, I'm like, that sounds a lot like those halls of knowledge I've been to. so it was different, but it wasn't the same thing, but it was similar.
Right. I think that one thing that I get from all of your stories, and of course I've heard some of these before, is that they come to us in different ways and get us interested in this in different ways. And so I think a lot of times we're accessing this knowledge before we even know that it exists and where it's going. So did you have something to add, Heather?
No, I was just agreeing with you.
Okay. So where does this information come from? So in addition to your regular spiritual team, which is, at least as far as I know now, angels, spirit guides, and beings of light, all of us also have an Akashic Record Masters team. And I didn't know that until I actually took a class in it and then met my Akashic Records Masters. Once you meet them, you can interact with this team often. And what I've found, at least, is that they are chatty. They want to talk to me a lot. They have a lot of good information. And as I have started to read other people's Akashic records, people can book me to do that, but I've also been going to these metaphysical fairs in my area, and people can do a mini reading with me at my booth, but then I actually have been going into the rooms and reading people for an hour, and I open the records of everybody in the room, and if they want to ask a question, they can ask a question. And most of the time, the question is, who's on my team? And I have found that these teams are very, very interesting. So I have never seen just one record master. Like, I haven't met anybody yet that just has one. I have met some people who have enough that they just put forth one to speak for all. Most of the time, though, I see people have at least three. And this team can consist of angels, past loved ones, but usually past loved ones that have been gone a little while, deities, beings who have lived on other planets, and even more. I have added to the slide saying I don't know about everything because I keep meeting new Akashic Records masters of all sorts of different types. My team just looks like angels or maybe my spirit guide. They look like that. They're very plain. But I have seen very fancy ones. I have seen shamans from a long, long time ago, or shamans. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong. I've seen shamans that existed millennia ago on people's teams. I have seen Lashmi, who is a Hindu goddess on a team. And I have, in the last weekend, one of the last weekends I was reading, I saw a rock star on a team, a rock star that has passed on, and they were on the team. And it was really very, very interesting. So the team is assembled by the, who you need. And I think that we just have to trust that that team is going to be what you need. Does anybody want to add on to that at all? Or no? You can meet your team, and you can even receive their names of what to call them. And so what's really interesting is, well, so what kind of information can you receive? So what people generally, the most known thing about the Akashic records is people can look at their past lives. Since it's the record of your soul, every incarnation of your soul, then you can look at those past lives. I find that I prefer to look at somebody's past life with the idea that we can learn something from it. Some people, though, just want to voyeuristically find out what they did. And that's okay, too. You just want to do it for fun. But I think it's really more useful if you can learn from them, find out what gifts do you bring forward from that life? Or what kind of stumbling blocks do you bring forward from that life? Sometimes when I'm reading, they combine lots of different modes where that they may go to the next thing I'm going to tell you, and then maybe even go back to past lives. So what I find the most exciting about past lives, not past lives, about the Akashic records, is asking about this life. That's really exciting to me. So you can ask your records masters all sorts of things about this life. So remember, they were there when you made your original plan of what you're going to do with this life. And so you can ask them about your original plan. You can ask them if you're on the right path, what are the stumbling blocks in front of you, and how can you get around them? There's a lot more that you can ask, but there's some things that they don't care about too much. So for instance, they're not so concerned about money, who you love, or where you live. So if you ask them, should I move to X, they generally are not going to tell you too much about that. So you have to work with somebody to craft the right question. So if you ask that obliquely, then you can get more answers. So like, how does my vibration or frequency, does my vibration or frequency match X where I want to live? Things like that. They will answer that. So there's lots of different ways to construct these questions. And I think it's really a good use of time to find out about your life now and what you might want to do right now, and how they can help you in the future. For me, I find that also it's a place of healing. So what they have shown me is they've shown me ancestral healing, like maybe when they're talking about this life, I've had people say, I have this illness that's been plaguing me. Did this start in another life? And sometimes they'll take me back to a past life and show where it started and why it started, and then give some suggestions on either how to get rid of it or how they might heal that. It's a great place to get healing of fears, spiritual healings, emotional, even physical healings. You can ask for so much about this life. I've even gotten a business plan. You can ask for a business plan and they will provide it for you. I just find them amazing. Is there anyone who'd like to share some of their experiences with their Akashic Record masters?
Is that the end of the slides?
There's one more slide, but
Oh, okay. Do you want to take it down just for a minute?
yes. There we go.
Yeah, I mean,
Go ahead.
oh, sorry. Go ahead, Heather.
No, you go ahead. You started.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I was just going to talk.
When I ask the question, I really need to be paying attention. They answer so quickly that if I'm not, I will miss it.
Mm-hmm.
They answer it like boom. So, and when you're going to ask a question, make sure you're ready.
Yep. I found it really helpful to record these because they, like we were talking about at the beginning of this show, that sometimes, with mediumship, they give us something to interpret that we may interpret correctly or maybe a little bit not so correctly. But with the Akashic Records, I find that they give it to you so fast and they give it to you so definitely that if you don't pay attention and catch it, it might just go right on past you.
Exactly. Oh, I agree. If I try to write it down, it's already the information's already gone.
Yeah,
so
but I do scribble a word here or there, just enough to remind me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just definitely tape them, record them.
Yeah, Jean.
Oh, I was going to say that I have the pleasure and the honor to participate with Terri Suzuki on her Akashic Records healing show or series that she's doing on her channel. And I'm really learning a lot, and it's really a beautiful experience. So, and it's something I've done healing energetically before, but this is just a little bit different. And the reverence and the intention that's behind it is really very important. And I do want to kind of comment a little bit that not everybody is going to see their guides. Not everybody is going to develop a rapport with their guides. Sometimes your guides are in the wings, so to speak, and they're just guiding you, and you just go directly to the information, and you ask your guides as a point of reference to assist you, and you trust that they're there and they're assisting you. It's not like they're going to pull up a seat on the other side of the table and put their hands down and say, what do you want to know? Like, it's not very interactive as far as having a person there talking to you. It's almost like they're assisting or linking you with that connection to that information. And it's with you have your guides or your link to those Akashic records. And the Akashic records of anyone is private and personal, and only the information that is allowed, even if we ask, is so-and-so going to have a boy or a girl when she has this baby, and it's not for us to know, we won't know it. It's
They
not
don't tell you.
it's not so there's variations. Also, there's if you ask is this going to, what would I call that? Is this from my guides? Are my guides guiding me to do this? And you ask yes or no, and the guides say, no, we're not. And then you're like, oh, well, that's not from my guides. I should just ignore that. And you go on. But you didn't ask, are my angels guiding us to do this? Like, you have to ask. And it was your angels, but you just said guides. So the specificity in your question is paramount, because they will only answer the question that you're asking. And you're not saying, is anyone else giving me this information or guiding me? And you think, oh, they would tell you that. But really,
Nope.
they're very matter of fact and very literal when it comes to the Akashic Records masters. So you say, are my guides guiding me to do this? They would say no, because it's your angels, or because it's another reason, but you don't know what you don't know. So it's really important to ask really all encompassing kinds of questions, all think in all different ways, and then ask the opposite question as well. Is this anybody other than my guides recommending or guiding me to do this? It's really important to ask the question and to know that that answer is to the question that you're asking. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I have found that a lot of times recently, some people maybe have been asking, like, ask the masters what my spiritual gifts are. And if I asked a question like that, there are high chances that I will not get an answer for that, because they will say, this is their journey. This is what they need to learn. We can't just tell them that. Just like, once in a while they do tell them something, but a lot of times recently they're telling me, no, this is part of their journey. This is part of what they need to learn. And also when I go back to they don't care about certain things like money and who you love and things like that. But it's not that they don't care, they do care. But what they tell me, and what my guides have been telling me when I've read people and asked questions like that, is they say, that's human business. That's why you went down there. You take care of that. You make those decisions. Be brave, make your decisions. And that's interesting too. But I'm sure that some people don't get a lot of good feelings out of that sometimes. I just want to pull up Cindy in Ensenadas. She met a master who is just energy. I've seen that too, where they're just a little ball of light.
That's what I normally see, is just energy.
Yeah.
But I see the energy of the Akashic Records masters, but I also see the energy of all their guides and angels behind the Akashic Records masters. And that's almost every time.
That is so cool. And this is a really good example. We called her Beth. And because, to be honest, a lot of times with the Akashic Records, they actually give me the names. But when I used to try to get guides' names, they don't really care about names. They are energy. And so they don't care about names. But sometimes we need a name to differentiate them. And so they don't have hard feelings if you just give them a name.
And that's another example of how to ask the question. I heard recently an example where someone said, what is your name? And the being or the guide said, it's too long for me to tell you. You would never be able to pronounce it. And then they said, instead of asking my name, just say, what can I call you? And they will know in our background, in our records or our vault of information, a name that is familiar and endearing to us, that they would say, oh, you can call me Beth.
That's
because that is a name, that is something we can call you. What can I call you? So instead of asking and this is why you're like, well, that's what I meant by name, but that's not what you asked. And this is where this is why it is very precise and specific information with the Akashic records, and it's not to be, it's just because that's how it is. It's not because, well, that's what I meant when I said name. It's not. It's really literal. It's very literal. And it's important to get in depth, get into practice, get familiar with the way that they phrase things and the way that they provide information and answers. Because if they said yes, Hawaii is really in your vibration, but they didn't say only for this month. After that, it's not in your vibration. Like, you don't know what you don't know. So it's important to
That's for sure.
understand.
And building on what you're saying is that I see a pattern of when you're going to talk to spirits, whether you're manifesting or you're talking to the Akashic records, you need to be specific. You can't be general, because then you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah. Well, I thought we'd also kind of move this discussion towards how people might DIY this.
Okay.
Because as most of you know, I'm the queen of DIY for fixing my house. So we're going to go back to the slides. This is the last slide. So if you decide to try this yourself, how might this information show up? And you've heard a lot of it from all of us, how the way it shows up for us. So in general, what they're going to do is they're going to use your clairs. So those are the psychic senses that they interact with you on your side. So it almost is better if you take a clair class and kind of get to know your clairs so that you kind of know how they're going to interact with you. For me, when I'm reading as a psychic medium, my first clair is clairvoyance. They show me like a little movie or pictures that I have to interpret. And then I'm claircognizant. They tell me kind of brain to brain, or I don't know if they have a brain, but spirit to spirit, what's going on there. And so clairvoyance is always first, and then claircognizance is second. But when I'm in the Akashic records, it's as if I have switched hands. Like I'm right-handed as a psychic medium, and now I'm left-handed as an Akashic records reader, because the claircognizant comes first. I hear them talking before I see any pictures. And that's really interesting. So it does help to get to know your clairs first, so that you can understand how they're going to interact with you. And they're not always going to interact with you the way that I'm describing their interaction with me. Maybe it's not going to be claircognizant, just knowing what it is. Maybe it's not going to be clairvoyant, seeing something. Maybe it's going to be hearing, feeling. I have noticed in the healing series, sometimes it's about the smells. They smell something that talks to them. It's really, really interesting. So, like I said before, if you want to try this on your own, go ahead and find a book or a YouTube video that'll help you get in touch. After that, they may interact with you through nudges. And this is really the same way your spirit guides kind of work with you too, and angels, as they give you nudges, telling you things like, go home this direction instead of that one, or turn this way instead of that way, or make dinner, do this dinner instead of that dinner. And it may be that they're guiding you because it's in your best interest, but what I've found is that a lot of times it's because they are setting it up that I meet somebody important, or that the food I'm taking in is better for my body than the food I wanted to take in. And what I found is over time, you will start to understand them more, and they will start growing the ways that they will interact with you. So like I said, at first, it was just that when I knew when they wanted to tell me something, that I suddenly saw the cottage and went in and sat down. But now I can kind of get that knowledge from them. Like they're like, hey, we got something we got to tell you, and or just that they want to interact with me, want me to kind of slow down and interact. And I actually see in the chat right now another Akashic record reader, Linda De Gonzalez. Hey,
She's famous now.
Mhm.
I love that. I love that.
Well, Linda did an amazing interview with Tarot Stash. It was really very well done. I learned a lot about you, Linda, that I've always felt in your energy. And just this past Sunday, she was the lucky winner on Sterling, a psychic medium show.
Cool.
She won the drawing. And I don't know if you know that yet, Linda, but he called out your name and said, contact him for a free drawing because she won out of 60,000, entries.
Wow.
I know.
Cool.
I know.
Mhm.
Rub it on me. You ever rub elbows with somebody that you thought was
Great.
Yeah. I am very fortunate that I took the class with her. So sometimes we get to interact at like practices and stuff. So that's just lovely. Yeah.
Did you want me to take down the slides?
Sure. Let's take those down. Yeah. So what I find surprising about all this is how sure it is. And we talked about this at the very beginning, that it's just more matter of a fact than trying to interpret something. And as I'm reading these, I am finding out so much more, and they just blow my mind all the time. And look at Linda. Good for you.
You strike where the iron's hot.
Yes. Yes. So I just really find this so interesting, and so it just really blows my mind, because I'm going to be honest, when I first kind of started this journey and was aware of like lives over there, coming here, there's this veil of forgetfulness. I remember telling my guides, that doesn't sound like a really good plan, to make this intricate plan over here, then shoot me down here and have me try to grope in the dark to find the plan. That doesn't sound that great. And my guides said, well, that wasn't exactly the plan. They said, and I'm like, oh, okay, tell me more. And they said, well, over time, this has been lost. Religions have come in and said, don't listen to that. That's evil. Listen to us. Listen to us. And governments and people in power have kind of taken this away from us. And this was one of the ways to reach beyond the veil and bring the plan back. So we weren't really supposed to be just going this alone in the dark. We were supposed to be able to access this information. So they do keep telling me again and again and again, this is our birthright. This is every person on this earth's birthright. And they want this in your hands. They want you to meet them, and they want to talk to you, and they want you to have this information. So that's part of my goal in all of this, is to help people meet their guides and help start the conversations. And to that end, when I read Akashic records in person or over Zoom, they have changed like my little record, the key prayer, to add, I leave the records open to whoever I'm reading, but closed to me and anyone else. And so, but they have the option if they just want them closed all the way, they can close them all the way if they want. But they have suggested that they would like to keep the conversation going. So that's an option I put in mind.
Now's the time that they can be of most help to us during this evolution and this change in frequency and vibration and the evolution of humanity. And you guys hear me say that all the time. But they're assisting us with our personal growth. They need humanity to evolve. They need humanity to evolve to affect the rest of the universe. And with us exploring the Akashic records, it can be a deeply transformative experience, offering insights to patterns, challenges, and opportunities in our lives. It's like gaining access to higher perspectives that can help us navigate our journey with clarity and purpose. So it's really just it offers us so much, and we invite you to explore the possibility of either getting a book, listening to a video, or taking a class and inviting your Akashic Records masters in to begin the process of the connection and learning how to communicate and how to tune into one another and how to follow the nudges. Like Terri says, now when Terri is just going about her day, she is responsive because she's leaving them open, and she's like, oh, okay, they want me to go over here and write something down. I have to go over. Like, she can feel the nudge. She can feel the energy moving her. And when you start responding to the guidance, they will guide you more. When you start thanking them, appreciating them, writing these things down and acting, no matter how silly it might be, don't tie your shoes this way, tie them this way. No matter what it is, they're guiding you. They want to, and it's not, we're not giving them autonomy or our will. We're listening to their guidance to help us on our journey. And it's up to us. We always have the choice, but when it's not that they tell us, it's that they're guiding us so that we might try things. And the more that we're used to listening to that guidance, when this big, I don't know, the lights go out and you need to find the batteries or something, you'll be ready and have that connection to find where the batteries and candles are when the lights go out, or whatever it might be. Like during a stressful situation, you'll already have that connection because you followed them with what you're going to wear, what you're going to have for dinner, the way you're going to tie your shoes. It sounds really mundane, but it's a practice of listening to that, listening, acting, and responding with gratitude, responding with understanding. And this is what they're trying to, this is what they would like to invite us to open up with them. But it's the way of humanity's moving forward in the evolution, the frequency and vibration. And if anybody wants to drink every time I say frequency and vibration, go ahead. I say it almost every show.
I can't drink that much. But I have to agree with you. Most of how I live my life these days is through the nudges I receive. Pure and simple. I'm getting ready to sell my home in Key West and move to San Francisco. San Francisco. Oh, where did that come from? San Jose, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever in the day-to-day things, in day-to-day life. What am I doing? I'm being guided.
Yes.
This is where they want me to go. This is where I need to be. This is where I'm going to be working from. I know a little bit about what they expect out of me, but basically it's like, this is huge. I am getting rid of everything I own and hitting the road on spirits.
Exciting.
And it's super exciting. And it's not even, I have moments of freaking out, but mainly it's just feels so right. That there's just no question to it. That's where they want me to go. Where it ends up, who knows?
Mhm.
but it's
Yeah.
a new adventure. And that is part of listening to your guides and your record masters, because when I check in with my record masters, they're validating this is what they want, this is where I need to be going. This is what I need to be doing. And it's so freeing to sit back and let it flow.
Yeah. Wonderful.
I can't think of the guy's name. He's a spiritual teacher. Everybody knows him. It's not Deepak Chopra. It's the bald guy. But he did the same thing. He
Bashir?
no. He left everything he owned and got rid of everything he owned and practiced just his spiritual enlightenment and lived his life the way that he was guided to live. And this is our goal here as
Yes.
spirit in our human body, is to reach that enlightenment, so that when we have all of these experiences and the culmination of all of our lifetimes, when we eventually do cross over, our souls, like, I mean, who knows? Maybe Priscilla might become an ascended master, or a higher vibrational being on the other side when she finally does this, because every lifetime, this is what they're trying to do, is bring us to enlightenment, bring us to this oneness, bring us to this communion with our higher self and with our spirit guides and with our soul's vibration. This is and this is where we're moving to, is a more sensitive and energetic type of community around us and environment.
Yeah.
Wayne Dyer did it.
Wayne Dyer, right.
There, Cindy's right. Cindy got it.
Thank you, Cindy.
I want to go back real quick to one thing. We're going to go back to Linda Day Gonzalez real quick. She had set up that reading for mid-June.
I can't wait to hear.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Linda, we want to hear about it.
I know, we'll have to do a debriefing.
Absolutely. We expect reports.
We'll have a party, and whatever she wants to share, we can all be together on the same Zoom. There'll be like 200 people in a Zoom, and Linda will be like,
Mhm. Yeah.
oh, that's funny.
So I kind of want to kind of end the Akashic record part of the show by letting everybody know that I've just shared with you what I know so far. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff I don't know.
Come back in a year, and I bet we have a whole bunch more to share.
Exactly. I just went to a MeWe fair in person and did a lot of Akashic record reading live, and learned a lot of mind-blowing stuff. And I'm going to be with Priscilla and Heather on Terri's Tales, and I'm going to tell about what I saw and learned, because it was mind-blowing.
Wow.
But I don't want to say it now.
So tune in.
And
What day is it?
is
March
that?
23rd?
Oh,
What? March 30th?
Yeah, March 30th, a Saturday, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's going to be fun to get to share some of the.
I want to go back to your healing show. I mean, she brought it up at the very beginning. I was going to bring it up at the end, but I want people to understand this healing shows that you are doing on YouTube right now, and that all you have to do is be in the room for a healing.
So what happened is after I got to know my guides, or my masters, sorry, and they immediately set me to work on doing ancestral healing of the 4 lines that make up me. And they would tell me who in my family I needed to include in it. And I would call them up, even if they weren't spiritual, like, will you assist me? Will you be in this prayer with me and do it? They all did it. Nobody called the funny farm to haul me off or anything. I was a little surprised. But I started getting used to how they energetically draw things through time and move things. And so after a while, they suggested that they would like me to do this healing show. And so Tuesdays at 3, I do an Akashic healing series. And I don't know what the theme is going to be. It happens about 2 days before they tell me what the theme's going to be.
Yep.
And then they don't tell me what we're actually going to do until the day of. So a few hours before it actually happens. This time, though, this last show, they actually gave me a series of 3. So I actually know what the next 2 shows are about. So the last week, it was about self-esteem. They wanted to go back and heal self-esteem in people and restore worthiness. They want people to feel worthy to be here, but to be part of this spiritual movement.
Yeah.
And so the one coming out this Tuesday is religious abuse or religious manipulation, however you want to say it. But they want to heal that so that people can be free to use their spiritual gifts. I have been feeling into it a little bit. They're going to tell me more tomorrow, but I don't wonder if this isn't going to be past life mud wrestling. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm seeing a nice little energetic hand this time.
Wow.
And then the week after that is going to be restoring and reinforcing the psychic connection.
Ooh.
Because where these 3 are going to is spiritual freedom. That's what they want for us. Spiritual freedom.
Yes.
So,
Ooh, me too.
yeah. And my wing woman, hype girl is SunPsychic
It's
Jean,
going to be there.
and she helps this happen. And she then also she helps with interpretation of the whole thing because she's so knowledgeable. And usually by the time that something's happened, I'm a little worn out. Yeah. So
I just pop up the prompts. That's all I do.
Oh, sure.
I'm there.
Oh,
No,
sure.
I'm there to support. I'm not doing it. I'm just supporting. And then sometimes I get a little, like a little intuition or a little message that wants to come through.
yes.
But it's
And,
all the healing. is
It's
done by-
amazing feeling in the room.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
is amazing.
Right. And Cindy says, I couldn't do the first one. There's a way to make it up. Yes.
Go watch it.
It's on the replay. You can just go watch it. And they have designed it. They already told me, and I say it in the thing that this works whether you're catching it live or in the replay. So, and even in the replay, you can participate because this is actually interactive. So what I've been finding is that they do these healings, even if the person is not spiritual in the least. And some of the people I asked to help me with the ancestral healing were not spiritual in the least.
But isn't it fascinating that they said yes in this day and time?
Yes.
It is. But
Encouraging.
their spirit guides or their Akashic Record masters gave them words to add to the prayer, to add to the hearing. And so even if you watch the replay, you can add those in. And you can do it by making a comment, or you can just do it by saying it to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're very powerful. I've been to the first 2, so I'm looking forward to tomorrow's. What time is it tomorrow?
3 Pacific.
3
time,
Pacific.
So 12 your time.
After our show, Heather, we're good.
Yeah.
I think it's 6 Eastern.
Yeah,
6
that's
Eastern.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. We get off, we'll go watch you.
That's how it works.
Mhm.
Wow, it's an hour. Amazing. So next month, which is April, will be Miss Terri Lee, and she's going to talk about judgment and the power of releasing judgment. So that's going to be a really good show.
Wow.
It's going to be wild. Get ready.
And does anybody have anything they want to talk about they're doing this week?
I'll be
Terri,
on
you've
with-
got your show tomorrow. SunPsychic Jean, you'll be there.
Yep, I'll be on with Terri Renner right after this at 5:30 Eastern.
Okay.
Nice.
And, yes, so everybody come on over, and I'm doing a triple play today. I was on with Daphne.
Wow.
She did sound healing and flower essences, and it was a fabulous show. And then I'm going to be on with Terri Renner, and then I'm going to be on with Suzuki tomorrow. And I think I have I think that's it for a couple of days. So
All
right.
right.
So
Well, I'll be on Wednesday. I'll be back on Wednesday doing my solo show. Yes. Reading for everyone. So please come and join me. That'd be great. That's going to be at 5 Eastern, 4 Central, 3 Mountain, 2 Pacific.
Perfect. And Heather and I'll be on tomorrow at our usual time at 3 Eastern, and we're doing celebrating your accomplishments and how important that is that we each do that.
Oh, yeah.
And then I can't remember who's on Saturday. I've forgotten.
Wasn't that Valerie?
Is that the 9th? No. Is that the 9th? Juno's going to be with us
Juno.
Saturday.
Okay.
Yes.
Juno. Yes.
So, 3 p.m. Eastern as usual. And
Terri Suzuki and Terri Lee and myself are all available for private readings. We do 30-minute readings, 60-minute readings, whatever type of readings. And please do go over to our websites. It's sunpsychicjean.com, kigaruspiritualjourneys.com, and purevisionarypsychic.com.
Thank you,
And
Jean.
take a look, because we've all been working really hard on revamping our websites and our offerings. And this is what happens in January, February, and March. We're asked to do this. And so there's something new, something different there. And we just invite you to take a look, and if you feel inspired to go ahead and make your appointment. It's such an amazing, beautiful experience. It's really
well,
an honor.
I've been read by all three of these ladies on more than one occasion, and I can highly vouch for each and every one. You will have an amazing reading no matter which way you go, whether it's a journey or a Akashic record reading. Whatever you want from these three ladies, they are absolutely incredible, and I highly recommend.
Yes, they are.
Thank you, Priscilla. It is my favorite thing to do, and that is solid truth. And it's a wonderful thing to unite and journey with another soul in a private situation where we can really answer a lot of different kinds of questions.
Yeah, it's truly amazing. And everybody, Wisdom Seeker Joan couldn't be here today. She lost a family member, so please surround her in unconditional love and light for her swift recovery for herself and her family. We really appreciate it. She's such a dear, sweet friend.
Yes, she is.
And with that, I guess we'll see you next month, Miss Terri Lee.
I'll be ready.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.